In this country, in 15 or 20 years' time, the black man will have the whip hand over the white man. Well, I can already hear the chorus of execration. How dare I say such a horrible thing? How dare I stir up trouble and inflame feelings by repeating such a conversation? My answer is that I do not have the right not to do so. Those whom the gods wish to destroy, they first make mad. We must be mad, literally mad as a nation, to be permitting the annual inflow of some 50,000 dependents who are for the most part the material of the future growth of the immigrant descended population. It is like watching a nation busily engaged in heaping up its own funeral pyre.
Much of Powell's speech was not recorded. The following extract is read by an actor.
They found their wives unable to obtain hospital beds in childbirth, their children unable to obtain school places, their homes and neighborhoods changed beyond recognition. They began to hear, as time went by, more and more voices which told them that they were now the unwanted.
It almost passes belief that at this moment, 20 to 30 additional immigrant children are arriving from overseas in Wolverhampton alone every week. And that means 15 or 20 additional families a decade or so hence.
She is becoming afraid to go out. Windows are broken. She finds excreta pushed through her letterbox. When she goes to the shops, she is followed by children. Charming, wide-grinning pickaninnies.
Here is their means of showing that the immigrant communities can organize to consolidate their members, to agitate and campaign against their fellow citizens, and to overawe and dominate the rest. The discrimination and the deprivation, the sense of alarm and of resentment lie not with the immigrant population, but with those among whom they have come and are still coming. This is why to enact legislation of the kind before Parliament at this moment is to risk throwing a match onto gunpowder. In these circumstances, nothing will suffice but that the total inflow for settlement should be reduced at once to negligible proportions, and that the necessary legislative and administrative measures should be taken without delay.
Powell ended his speech with a line from the Roman poet Virgil, which summed up his deep sense of anxiety. It is one of the most misquoted lines in British political history.
As I look ahead, I am filled with foreboding. Like the Roman, I seem to see the river Tiber foaming with much blood. I am filled with foreboding. Like the Roman, I seem to see the river Tiber foaming with much blood.
It inflames people to look at realities instead of just guessing. That will be a good thing. But I ask this question. If a member of Parliament, in his own constituency, in the place where he lives, sees certain to him real, growing and threatening dangers which are brought to his attention by his constituents of every race and class. Is he to be silent? Is he to say nothing about it? Is he to suppress the facts?
But isn't the sort of talk we've heard this afternoon liable to make relations between the races more tense?
Oh, I don't think so, because the immigrant here, the immigrant settled here, as I know very well in my own constituency, is just as anxious as the British residents about the dangers of which I was talking.
You describe the country as literally mad to allow thousands of dependents of immigrants into the country. But what can be done? You can't keep these people apart.
Well, they chose voluntarily to come here. Now, under our laws, we gave them admission. And therefore, we in the Conservative Party think that indeed it is wrong, forcibly, to keep a family divided. But you can reunite it in two directions. And we have said as a party that we believe there should be generous aid and assistance for those who wish to return home to rejoin their families there.
Are you, in this speech, talking for the Conservative Party?
Indeed, I repeatedly pointed out that the three elements of policy round which my speech was built, the prevention of numbers increasing further by inflow, the encouragement of maximum re-emigration, and the genuine like treatment before the law of all in this country. Our official Conservative Party, Mr. Heath has stated them over and over and over again, and my speech was built round it.
You talked in your speech with apprehension of a future perhaps with the Tiber foaming with blood. I mean, are you really this concerned about the future of the different races now living in Britain?
When I consider the way in which the lives of hundreds of people in this country have been literally wrecked by this event, I mean, they themselves don't regard it as the fault of the immigrant, but an event which the unamended law enabled to come upon them. When one reflects upon all that has happened, the utter change which has come over whole areas, the way of life of whole areas, then I think we can well be proud of the incredible restraint, self-control, patience of the English people. But numerically, this thing on present trends, unless something is done, numerically is in its infancy, as I pointed out.
And the patience of the British people?
Well, there's limits to everything.